Then finally, a bit of an overview of what's happening locally. And some of you may know more about this than me, but I hope it sort of gives a little bit of an insight. And it's slightly transport focused because that's my area of expertise. But yeah, just to give a bit of an overview. So this is a sort of kind of hierarchy. So we've got central government at the top, county council, district council, and parish town councils. Or in some areas, we have unitaries, which kind of cover the work of county and district. So in our area, Peterborough is a unitary council. But in the Cambridgeshire area, it is much more complicated than that, because we also have this complicated overlapping Venn diagram here from an organisation called Smarter Cambridge Transport, which shows that we have also have the Greater Cambridge Partnership, which is a mix of Cambridge City Council, South Cambridgeshire District Council, and they also have non-voting members from not just the University of Cambridge, I think it's also Anglia Ruskin, so the universities and a business board. And then on top of all that, encompassing Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, we have the mayoral combined authority that's currently led by Mayor Dr. Nick Johnson. And so they are actually like the strategic transport authority for a whole region. And they also so they commissioned an independent commission on climate, looking at our region, look at all aspects of climate, peat and transport, homes, energy. So they've done quite a lot of work at sort of a regional level. And this is kind of like how it works in an ideal world. So this is an example from the pandemic. So central government came up with this scheme, gear change. They wanted to sort of new policies for cycling. They came up with some new funding. The mayor at the time was James Palmer. So he kind of worked with Peterborough and Cambridge on some ideas for cycling in our area. So short-term experimental schemes. CamCycle was involved, and other local cycling groups like Sostrans. He fed those ideas into the government, and then we had some money which went into experimental closures, such as this is one in Cambridge, and there were also ones in other areas of the region. And then below that, right at parish, district and parish council level, so on the bottom right here, this was some ideas. This is from a Milton Cycling Campaign's idea for a modal filter in the village. They did a presentation to the parish council, and the parish council wasn't quite on board, but they came up with, fed in other ideas. So it's kind of like that, kind of like fed nicely through the different levels, and everybody got involved. But it doesn't always work that smoothly. This is a bit of an overview again of just the different levels, and I've just highlighted. Alice was talking about local authorities that declared a climate emergency. So just at the different levels, we've got central government has declared a climate emergency, the Cambridge County Council has declared a climate emergency, and the Cambridge City and South Council have both declared a climate emergency as well. So just sort of highlighted those with the little lightning bolts there. I'm just going to give a bit of an overview about some of the things that they're doing at the moment. So central government, we had some quite good policies come out in the last few years. So we had the gear change cycling one, as I said, they had a decarbonising transport plan, a planning bill, bus back better, various things. But where we are now is that actually we are getting repeated reports from the various independent bodies saying that actually the UK is failing to meet its targets, is failing to prioritise the climate. In transport, they've reversed a lot of the funding to walking and cycling. They're developing a new transport plan that still has loads of road building. So we're not really, I mean, also in things like energy, we're not insulating our homes. So they're really not in a good place from central government. And also some of the messaging, like I think they cut taxes on internal flights and things like that, where train fares are still going up. So there's the kind of messaging that needs to be feeding down is not really there right at the moment. At the mayor and combined authority level, so we have this climate change, this report on the right from the Independent Commission on Climate. It's really great to have that commissioned. Some really good things in there, several recommendations. I think there's about 30, and they were passed by the combined authority. But again, I think progress on them is very slow. And just in the last week or so, this local transport and connectivity plan that will sets the strategy for a whole of our region, that's been deferred again because there's been kind of disagreement between different members of that authority. So there are things happening, but it's sort of slower than it should be. And it's just, and again, it feels like those messages aren't getting through to the different levels of local government. Cambridgeshire County Council, they have a plan to reach net zero by 2045. And they have various other sub-documents. So they have just agreed an active travel strategy, which is looking great. And they're also one of the local authorities signed up to something called UK 100 to do everything within their power to get their communities to net zero as soon as possible. But I think, again, when it comes down to sort of making the decisions and putting climate at the sort of forefront of some of those decisions, that's not always happening. And I think that, again, there are some really good things happening, but it's just kind of consistently applying those policies and applying that ambition to all aspects. Then we have the Greater Cambridge Partnership and Cambridge City, South Cambs District Council. So the local councils, they have climate change strategies. There's one in Cambridge, and South Cambs has the zero carbon strategy. They also have a doubling nature strategy, I believe. And then on the left, we've got, this is sort of the Greater Cambridge Partnership, the GCP. We're obviously in the middle of a discussion about a potential sustainable travel zone for Cambridge, which would include a road charge and sort of funding better buses, better cycling. And I don't want to sort of go into that too much here, but I think one thing that's been interesting about that is the communication, the engagements with communities, and how we explain where we need to be, how we do things in a fair way, how we communicate well with communities, and yeah, bring them along. And that's sort of, yeah, well, we're still in the middle of that process. It's interesting. And then finally, parish councils, and I think loads of really exciting things are happening at parish council level. It's really good to see some parish councillors here today. I've just included two here. So Great Wilbraham Parish Plan, that looks like that's really going to include a real kind of aspects of social environmental issues in that as they develop a plan for the villages. And then I was involved via my work with CamCycle with Girton Parish Council, who've been doing some engagement events on different aspects of shaping their village. One of them was around active travel, and that was a really great drop-in event, just trying to understand really what walking and cycling, other active travel issues are needed for the village, working with some equestrian campaigners as well, and just a really positive way of getting people involved and coming up with ideas. And then finally, there are various other local groups to get involved with, to support, to link up with. The Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Climate Action Coalition is a group which tries to sort of monitor the activities of the Mayor and the Combined Authority and ensure that their actions are consistent with the climate and ecological emergency. Cambridge Resilience Web is mainly Cambridge City focused, but that has links to lots of groups involved in different aspects of the transition to zero carbon. And then just within my organisation, CamCycle, we have a campaign called Zero Carbon Streets, where we work with local groups and parish councils to try and support the work they're doing for better walking and cycling, and always open to working with new people, giving technical advice, campaigning advice, and just sort of linking up different people. And just a final word from the climate scientists on why you should take action at all, really. And so there's one here from Peter Kalmus. There's this silly debate about individual versus collective action. The only thing we have is a stream of choices we make every day, and all of these choices influence other people. And then Catherine Hayhoe says, whatever's at the top of your priority list is already being affected by climate change today. The reality is anything we do makes a difference, anything. Every bit of warming matters, and because of that, every choice matters and every action matters.